Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat from the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I do a podcast that's top 10 in the nation in TV and film review. It's called Cinephobe. You might have heard of it. On Cinephobe, one of the segments we do is we read reviews from both the critics and the audience for the movies that we're about to review.
But like your own reviews or the reviews of the movies?
The reviews of the movies.
Gotcha.
So this week, for instance, we have Dirty Work, the Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang movie from 1998. File, by the way. So before we get into breaking the movie down, we will read positive and negative reviews from both the critics and the audience, according to Rotten Tomatoes. But Zach will always ask me first, do you want the positives or the negatives? And I say, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so give me the positives. So I'm wondering, yesterday, as Deion Sanders walks in to his office after the thrilling Colorado versus North Dakota State game, and he's sitting with his assistant coaches, the whole staff, is he wanting the positive reviews or is he wanting the negative reviews? Is it a glass half full kind of guy or the glass half empty? Stop being a pessimist. This glass isn't half full, it's half empty. The North Dakota State, look, a lot of respect to them. They're not just some team that you pay to come play you and you roll over them. This is a great team on the FCS level, and they clearly have a lot of confidence. But, boy, let me tell you something. When they marched down that field and scored that touchdown in the first half, I was like, damn, hold on.
That was quick.
It was a level of quickness that wasn't, wow, we came up with some really smart plays or whatever. It was just like, yo, we're just as good as you are. And I had to ask myself, is this North Dakota State being a great team that just doesn't get to compete on this level a lot? Or is this year 2 of Colorado, a lot of talk, really not that good?
I mean, a lot of people assume Colorado's defense is not going to be very good this season, and that was an example there. They have Travis Hunter playing on both sides of the ball, and he is the best player in college football, bar none. Better than anyone in
He's
college
going to die.
sports.
He's great on TikTok, too. Good dancer.
We're all going to die.
You know what?
Why is he going to die? Do
He's
you have
going-
specifics?
He played like 8 billion snaps
It's
on
really
both
amazing.
sides of the ball. Dog, you can't do that.
The Shohei Ohtani of college football.
Yeah, except they hit you.
Right. It's crazy. But, I mean, he's spectacular. But when you're giving up over 100 yards more on the ground than you achieved yourself when you're Colorado, and you're giving up 300 passing yards, and they're completing, it was 20 of 24 passes against your defense? Like, I imagine Deion's walking in and going, give me the negatives because I'm frustrated by this, even though my guys pulled it out in the end.
You know who I felt bad for? There was a drive where the Bison were on their way down, and they were just about to, I think it was a third down, probably like the 15-yard line. And then there was a late hit. A cornerback hit a wide receiver late on a bad pass from the Bison quarterback, Cam, whatever his name is, I forgot. And I look up, I'm like, who'd they throw the flag on? Cam Miller. Who's the flag on? And then I look back and I see Sanders on the back of the jersey, and I'm like, oh, it's the other son. That's not good. Extending the drive, and then they ended up scoring a touchdown, and I was just like, that's not good when he gets back. Because he's already on lower on the pecking order behind Shedeur, right? I don't even know his name. What's his name?
No,
Shiloh?
Shiloh. The lowest one isn't that. It's the one that works in the social media department for the team. That's the one. Like Deion has told us the rankings. He's told us the rankings. Shedeur's number 1. Or is the daughter's number one?
Somebody's number one.
Someone's
It's not him.
It's not Shiloh, and it's that
I'll
like,
Google
the
it.
social media kid is the last one.
We don't even know his name.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
He doesn't get he's unranked, unnamed.
He's not poor.
You know who I thought? Yeah, good point. You know who I thought you were going with? Who I felt really sorry for was for North Dakota State number 17, the cornerback, because there was a play in the fourth quarter, I want to say, and the Buffaloes are it's a goal line play, and Shador tries to run, and he gets rocked. And number 17 just starts yapping, just talking, letting him know. And I'm like, yeah, this kid goes to a small school, but he's trying to let Shador Sanders know, like, you're not so tough. I don't care who you got, who your dad is or whatever. And the very next play is that touchdown catch by Travis Hunter where he catches it behind the other dude's back. And, like, they tumble, and I'm like, oh, please, don't let it be that same kid. And he got him. I was like, damn.
He looks back and he's like, did he catch that? Oh yeah, he
man.
caught that.
Like, which means Shador was like, oh, you're talking shit to me? Got it. Where you at? Over here? Targeted. Now, I know he's throwing to Travis Hunter, which is
A bit unfair.
the safety blanket, right? Like, it's like Brett Favre, young Brett Favre with Sterling Sharp. It's just throwing Sterling Sharp's direction. Something good's going to happen. But the guy got up and the look on his face, I was just like, damn, bro. You were about to be
They
that
got
guy.
you too. They got you
He was
too.
about to be that guy coming back home like, yeah, I'm the guy that told Shador to go F himself. And then it's like, yeah, you're the guy that Shador picked on the very next play. Unbelievable.
As of 2023, the rankings were Deion Sanders Jr., Bossy Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Shador Sanders, and DeAndre Sanders. But then in February of 2024, on Shiloh Sanders' birthday, Deion posted on Instagram and said, happy birthday to my favorite son, Shiloh Sanders.
Well,
so Shador not at number one, which is an interesting spot in the power rankings.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know about these rankings.
Yeah. I feel like there's a little bias going on.
Bossy should be a little higher.
All biases aside, rank the Sanders kids. Tony, go.
Shador number 2.
Okay.
Bossy number 1, clearly. Deion Sanders Jr. Is that the social media one?
I think Deion Jr. is the social media one, but I thought he was lower.
He's got to be lower. Okay, so
Shiloh's a safety.
Yes.
And then
Shador's a quarterback. Yes.
Chris learning about the Colorado Buffaloes.
101. Here we go.
that's all I got.
Me too.
Those are the only two
Oddly
sons that play
enough-
for the team, by the way.
By the way, oddly enough, me too. That's all I had.
I'm not gonna lie, I got confused for a second because I saw Sanders had rushing yards. I'm like, oh, there's a running back, but that's Shador.
Yeah,
so it's
Shador.
the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's really good when you have the best player in the country, basically, in Travis Hunter, where it's like, all right, you're going to go stop guys on defense, but then we're also going to throw you the ball 14 times on offense. It's
Yeah.
like, you're good.
You know
Just
what?
Go be good.
Travis Hunter, number 1 Sanders kid.
You know what?
Deion always says he's like,
I like
a son to
that.
me. Travis Hunter's number 1. Bossy, you're now number 2. Shador 3. Shiloh 4. Deion Jr. Man, if you out here with Final Cut Pro, I'm sorry, man.
And you wear the Deion Sanders name. You're the junior.
the junior. You're the one.
You're the one.
You're the chosen one.
It'd be funny if they had a punter named Mark Sanders. It was like a white guy.
White guy.
Like,
But he goes to Thanksgiving dinner with them.
he's got to watch him and Shador. They're like,
Now I got him with like his shirt tucked in, just kind of awkwardly there, like, "My guys," waving. No, but like, is this proof that Colorado again gonna just disappoint everybody, or what? How are we processing this?
I mean, I think the expectation was that they would just be an average team this year. I don't think anybody anticipates. They have 2 of the better players in college football. They have, between Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders, 2 of the top 3 NIL leaders in college football, I believe. They're great, but in college football, you can only be so great with 2 great players, and I think the expectation was that they'd be a middle-of-the-road to lower-tier Big 12 team this season,
That's
and
exactly
maybe
what they
could
are.
surprise people.
Even after that win, they are the 11th best odds to win the Big 12.
Out of 16, by the way, that's how many teams are in the Big 12.
what happened to just having a fun team?
Right.
What
Well,
happened-
they
like
had
they're
that.
They're a fun team.
They
They
had
had
that
their
last
fun
year.
Big 12. Sure, but like that's the thing.
They
Like,
were fun until they weren't fun. I think
started
like
losing.
I'm not saying you have to be the best team in the country, But you can't be a 500 team that's fun. Not in football, not in college football.
I don't know, man. Texas Tech had a lot of years being 6-6, 7-5, and being one of the most entertaining teams in the country because they'd score 60 and give up 50. And the hope would be that maybe that's what happens here for Colorado this year. Is their offense is electric, but then they're giving up a ton of points. So all game long, you got Shedeur Sanders throwing for 400 yards every game. That'd be fun.
What's the end game for Colorado? Like, if they're trying to win national championships, then they're not where they want to be.
No, Deion's going to try to graduate.
If you just want to be in the headlines, you're here.
Deion's trying to get his kid in the NFL, Travis Hunter in the NFL, Shiloh in the NFL somehow, and then leave.
Deion Jr.?
Maybe.
You mean leave for another bigger school?
Deion, and then,
Or just be done with coaching?
Go coach in the NFL.
Oh, he wants, and then he's gonna
Go
coach
follow his kid.
There you go.
Third eye open.
Yeah, football Illuminati coming soon. The other thing I was thinking about while watching that game was last year, what we talked about a lot is like, wow, look how small Colorado is compared to like actual football schools. So I thought like this year they're going to upgrade it. And I'm watching yesterday and I'm like, they don't look much bigger than the North Dakota State kids. They still look small.
It looks like a thin offensive line, which is kind of a point where you can look at and be like, all right, the big boy teams, the Alabamas, the SEC level programs, Michigan, who just won a championship, obviously, have monster offensive lines. And then I look at Colorado's offensive lines, like Shedeur, like the same size. And I'm like, wait. It's like 1960 where you would have those 3-down linemen and then all of a sudden they're like 200 pounds.
Yeah, they stand up and they're just a little heftier than the quarterback. I'm like, what's happening here? It gives me pause as far as like, I thought Deion's supposed to be this amazing recruiter, right? Is he not recruiting linemen? Is that what's happening?
Lineman isn't sexy.
I mean,
he recruits sexy.
For the audio audience, Tony says linemen aren't sexy, and Billy looks up from his laptop and silently just points at
So
Tony.
that's true, but it was off mic, so it wasn't helpful.
We heard a little
Why
bit
does
of it.
Colorado have like that asphalt? Like do they have like skateboarding competitions on the weekends? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like against the
yeah,
wall, like
yeah,
that
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
What is that there for? That just seems like a waste of space and dangerous.
I don't know. Like,
Maybe it was for like a band shell back in the day, but then they just covered it.
or maybe like everyone signs it. Maybe it's like something. You know, how sometimes I'll have that thing where it's like, hey, who came to the game today? And Conan O'Brien's signature is on the wall and stuff like that. You know, you see this at the comedy
T.O. was
store.
was at the game.
Yeah, T.O. was at the
So
game.
was Wallow.
Yep. Was Cam at the game?
I think so.
Yeah. No, look.
It's a who's who.
They're still drawing. I thought for sure that there would be some cold water on that the who's who coming to the Colorado game. But no, they're still drawing.
That'll
It's
only
still cool.
happen if they start 2-6 or whatever they might do here, because I believe their over/under is 5.5 wins for the season. So they might not even be a bowl.
The celebrities
eligible team.
know they've learned a lesson. Show up for the games that you know they're going to win.
Well,
I know. Yesterday ended up being close, but I think they were expected to win that one.
you know what's funny? There's a level of this that's galaxy brain. So follow me here. Going to a Colorado game is now like a prestigious thing. It's you were at the Colorado game on the sideline? That's a big deal, right? Yes, right? And we've also established the games you go to are either early or the ones that we think they're going to win when we think they're still good. Meaning the end of last year's games, no one wanted to go. It wasn't a big deal. But when you see a picture of someone on the sidelines, 9 times out of 10, you don't know what game that's from. Ipso facto, if Colorado has another collapse, I propose that we go to a Colorado game and be on the sidelines, get the pictures taken, and then just like wait till the next year where it's like it's prestigious again. Like, oh yeah, me and Tony, we're there on the sideline. Yeah, you know.
We posted in March, like, thanks, Deion, brother,
Yeah.
for forever. And we're just there kind of like next to him.
Yeah.
Works.
Make it even easier on you. They'll be in Orlando playing UCF in just a few weeks. So we can just head up a few hours north and be on the sideline with Deion. Nobody will know where you are necessarily. And it's easy for you. You don't even have to go to Colorado.
Jeremy, let me just say this right now and to the massive audience on YouTube and also on Max. If your children are listening or watching, tell them to cover their ears. UCF Stadium sucks dick.
Couldn't disagree more.
Wow.
I can't tell. Did you bleep yourself there?
He did.
or did you just
he's
kinda
a pro's
like-
pro.
You gave us the duh and then kind of
It does.
tailed away.
Couldn't disagree more.
Bit of a
It's a spectacular stadium, the Bounce House.
Small little K at the end.
One of the best in the country.
Isn't it called the bounce house because when it's filled and rocking, it feels like it's going to collapse?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
like by
designed that way.
design, I don't like a design.
I hate-
above
yeah,
you.
don't-
feel like
It doesn't feel like.
How about the
it's designed
sturdy
that way.
house?
It feel, this is what it feels
I'm
like.
with
Big
you.
house.
I want no bounce, no sway. I know that that's not safe. Like in an earthquake, you want a building that can sway because if it can't sway, then it's more.
But they're in
dangerous.
Orlando. There's
Yeah.
no
I don't want
earthquakes
to
in
sway.
Orlando.
The idea
Yeah.
that it was on purpose. That sounds
Yeah.
like the kind of thing that sounds like me censoring myself and then asking, "Did you censor yourself?" I said, yeah, I did that on purpose.
I do think that it's more like they made sure after they realized it was bouncing that it was at least structurally
Yeah.
sturdy.
That's-
Like, hey,
But
it's
how do
not.
they
It's
test
not
that?
gonna
Make
fall
sure about
apart.
that.
How do you test that?
Well,
Like, hey, let's get
enough people
60,000
bouncing in the
here.
stadium. Yeah, it's fine.
But what about
Everything's working out.
60,002?
So you were the test dummy.
I'm with you.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
that about
because I was
bridges
there
all the
when there were
time.
no fans there
What if
as
it's
well.
full of 18-wheelers with 30,000 pounds of crap? How's the bridge
And then
not
I'm
just
in
going
the
to
middle of
collapse?
it.
Exactly right. They were just accounting for like, well, everybody has 2 passengers. They weigh about 180 to 250 pounds. Like, oh, we only need this bridge to hold. We'll carry the 4. We only need to carry about 6,000 pounds. And then boom, 25 18-wheelers, all of them with 18 tons.
No, it's something like the entire Alabama offensive
definitely
line
wrong,
is
but
on a
I
bus
appreciate
coming
your
over the bridge. And oh, no, we never thought there would be this many people, 300 pounds or more. And then that's what collapses it.
Do you like that expansion they're doing to your bounce house over there? They're putting like a building on the outside to look like it's part of the inside to make it look like a real stadium.
It's very confusing. They're just trying to give extra luxury seating to the boosters and such. And I kind of like that we
It's
have.
a shitty stadium.
I love our stadium.
It's
I really
awful.
do. I think the location of it's great,
Yeah.
and I think that the atmosphere is great. But you're not going to get me to say anything else. Like I am.
Why?
Because I love it. It's great. I love my school. I love my program. I love the way that the stadium feels when it's packed. I was there for College Game Day in 2018, and it was one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever felt in my life. And it gets loud because you're right there on the field.
Jeremy, listen to me. You and the rest of college sports, enough with the shitty stadiums, but it has nostalgic value. Go build something nice.
It's not even nostalgic
It doesn't
value.
even have nostalgic
It's
value.
just
new-ish.
simply a
poorly
stadium that's
constructed
built
stadium.
on
Got it.
campus that is, to me, that element of the fact that it is not a
That was shade at
100,000.
That was shade at Miami, by the way.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. You need an on-campus
The
stadium if you're a
on-campus thing?
legitimate
Yeah.
program.
Have you
I mean,
seen-
come on.
I mean, have you been to the bounce house? Obviously.
I have, yeah.
So you had to get driven to the stadium
Bounce
Yes.
house is
because of how
overall-
far it is
Yes. What are you
inside
talking about?
of the campus.
Yes.
As somebody who was told to go home from UCF, the mall and the lawn is 7 miles long, and you have to walk 18,000 steps to try to get into the stadium. And then there's no back of the seat, so you're sitting on bleachers
Oh, yeah, it's
like
just
if I'm in
bleachers.
little league. Give me a break.
Also,
no
bounce
idea
houses
what college
overrated.
football is about.
Bounce houses in general.
You miss one steak, they go flying, and 5 kids are dead.
5
They make a
kids are dead.
documentary.
You ever try
Well,
to-
you make a $30 million
You ever
deal,
try to
though,
get
so
in there
it's,
and like grab your kid? Like walking in a bounce house, not easy.
Oh no! You
You have
stand
to-
at the
you
door.
literally
You
have to
stand at the
bounce.
door. You stand at the door and you say, "Get out of here."
I've been in there before trying to get her, and like you don't look more awkward than when you're walking in a bounce house.
I don't think it's so much shitty. It's that like, and Jeremy will disagree with this because it's not positive towards his university or stadium. It doesn't really have character.
It has zero character.
It's just like
it is a generic
like-
ass
it's like
stadium.
build a program.
it's a
on
bleacher
NCAA.
company's wet dream. It's just like, let's just build bleachers as high up as we can, put as many rows as you want, no backs, we're good.
It's terrible. Now the
I
positive.
could
thing,
not be more upset.
The
right
positive thing I'll point out.
Give me time.
We went, as I said a couple years ago, Georgia Tech at UCF. We parked and in a church that's like Tony said 7 miles away from the entrance to the stadium. And in the church, they were giving out like free food. Like it was just free. Here, have some Chick-fil-A. I was like, really? And I was like, I've never experienced that anywhere.
How can you argue this stadium has character?
There's zero
like one section where it's like, here's our character, yellow seats. The rest is just
It's not
bleachers.
about that. It's literally just about like
Your
what it
memories?
feels like there. It's not just my memories. It's anyone who goes to the stadium.
I've been to the
Literally
stadium,
just
there's no
yesterday,
character.
Master was here saying what an incredible experience it is tailgating at the pro and how great the stadium is. Come on, nobody
First of all-
who
Yeah, but
likes
Master
college
Master
football.
loves ball. That's a different
That's the
story.
point.
You can't
Hold on.
ask Master.
You
Hold on.
guys don't like
No,
college
hold
football.
on,
You
hold
just
on.
said it.
When
Time
did
out.
Master become the one that ends
Exactly.
this conversation?
Exactly.
Well, you guys
great.
all
Well,
just
Master
said
is
you
here,
don't
he
like
said it,
college
so
football.
we
We
can't
don't like
disagree with
dealing with
that.
the nostalgia of college football. This is a great on-campus stadium that is a spectacular experience for anyone who goes there. Anyone who likes college football enjoys that moment. I don't understand what we're doing here.
You know,
also, yesterday, the rare time that you win by 54 points and run run for 450 yards and feel terrible about your victory.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
You know, Amin, how you know that the stadium doesn't have character and that this is like,
Yeah.
they're looking for a thing, is the play that happens that's very popular now where they have 67,000 different uniforms. And you're watching a game, you're like, which team
I
is
am
UCF?
obsessed with
I
that.
don't know which team is UCF. I don't know who just scored because every game they're in a different uniform. No tradition.
Exactly.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
that's
even know
what
what
teams
to
with no
say.
tradition do because you're just searching
You're
for an
building
identity.
it.
You're looking
We
for a
have
thing.
the identity. The whole premise.
Oregon
is that
did that because they could never get over the hump.
But
so it's
they're
like, you know
also
what?
Nike- they
We're
are
never
Nike,
gonna
though.
win, so let's just have a lot of flashy uniforms.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
this
or
is
Oregon.
insane.
Oregon has an.
FIU guys.
Oregon has
Yeah,
an.
we
has
have
an
like
in.
7 uniform combinations.
ridiculous.
This
You
year. Can't
also-
wait for
By the way,
Vice
their stadium more character. You know
Pitbull
why?
Stadium.
That's insane.
Boom.
Pitbull Stadium.
What is wrong with you
rattle the
people?
cage.
He's not wrong.
Rattle the cage.
Insane.
He's
The pit.
not wrong.
There you go. You're just unbelievable.
You just don't get it, Jeremy.
Dude,
I'm
Yeah, you don't get it,
unbelievable.
man.
you're unbelievable.
Jeez.
Let me.
I just got a
man.
text from my friend John who went to UCF. He says we sound absurd right now.
Oh,
Okay, he went to
You do sound
UCF.
absurd.
I mean,
Wait, is he talking about Jeremy?
I feel like when you go to UCF
That's the
and,
we
and
he's
you
talking
like
about.
you choose like to root for UCF's football team, they remove part of your brain.
But I will. So let me get to my point. It really wasn't about UCF.
I told you could get more upset.
that stadium.
I am.
That
You
stadium
said
is-
it about 3 minutes ago, and now I'm fuming right now.
But some of these places, quote unquote, have personality, and I think they got to go to. Years and years ago, we had Mike Krzyzewski on Highly Questionable,
Coach K.
and so I wanted to ask the question: when are you guys gonna finally put some money into the program and get a new building? And Dan literally was like, "Absolutely not. You cannot ask that question." And I said, "Well, what are you? Well, we're gonna upset Mike Krzyzewski." If you've been to Cameron Indoor Stadium, ladies and gentlemen, or if you haven't, excuse me, it's a dump. It's a dump. You know what other places are a dump that people just glaze all the time? The Carrier Dome, Syracuse, dump,
no AC, I heard.
dump.
But
no Carrier.
They don't have AC. That's what I heard. I know multiple people that went to Syracuse, and I think they don't have AC in the Carrier Dome.
But at Cameron Indoor, they slap the court.
They could do that anywhere, Chris. They could
That's
do that
just playing
anywhere.
good defense and slapping the floor. That's just playing good D. You can do that anywhere.
Now, the flip side is they seem to put a lot of money into practice facilities. Because I saw this video of Northwestern's new practice facility, and I don't think of Northwestern as a football powerhouse, right? The only reason we talk about them is because 60% of the media all went to Northwestern. That's right, by the way. I don't know. Where's my camera? Right here? I don't know if you people know this, sports consumers. If you wonder where all the biases come from, I'll tell you right now. They all went to Northwestern or Syracuse. All of them. Greeny, Northwestern. Right? Rachel Nichols, Northwestern. Mike Wilbon, Northwestern. Lefko, Syracuse. Right? You go through the list of all your play-by-play and host people, and you're like, oh, that's another one. And now it all makes sense. It all makes sense. So they try to convince us that Northwestern is a thing. Oh, it's a Big Ten school, and they're coming up and all that shit, right? That's not a good school, football-wise.
It's a good journalism school, though.
Great journalism school. Great journalism school. But I'm going to tell you this. Their football practice facility they just built, I would have been fooled. As a 17-year-old, I'd be like, oh, my God, I got to go there. It's on, like, the water, but because they got some sand there, it makes it look like it's at a beach. I'm like, oh, my God. You guys have your practice facility right onto the beach? Yeah, but it's Lake Michigan.
It's a lake.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's freezing.
It's
90%
freezing
of the time.
for most of the time you're there. So it's like, this is all trickery. Smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
I thought you guys could only make me feel like this during heat season. Why? I can't believe
You
what's
sound
happening
more
right now.
ridiculous now than
Why?
you've ever
Yeah,
felt
you
in
really
heat season.
do.
This is ridiculous.
But
This
you
is
understand
insane.
why people who don't go to UCF would think that it doesn't have a lot of character. Like it doesn't give off like
It's not-
like you see Tennessee football game. and you're like, holy
we haven't
shit.
existed since
but-
segregation.
But you understand it then. It's not that crazy what they're saying.
Like Tallahassee Doak Stadium, that's a dope-ass stadium. That's got character. I don't like the Seminoles. We kicked their ass. I don't know if anyone
Are
heard
we talking
last
about
Sunday.
character versus like actually being a good stadium
No.
with atmosphere?
No, it's a great stadium atmosphere.
He's talking about the bones.
When you're walking up, though, like, do you feel like, oh, I'm at a college environment right
Well,
now?
I do.
I've
When
honestly
you walk
never been to a
across,
UCF
when you
game,
walk
so I-
across the campus and you see all of the tents and the tailgating, and then you walk down Knights Plaza and there's the
lot of
cheerleaders and the
walking.
band, and
You hear
you
him
walk
walking
over
a
to
lot, right?
walk over to the stadium. It's an unbelievable atmosphere, and you feel that buzz of college football.
I've heard it's no FAU stadium.
Oh my god.
Oh, Pal Al's
I'm
on the
leaving.
prowl. Are you guys old enough? Well, Roy is, but everyone else. Are you guys old enough to remember the Christopher Reeve Superman movies?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Jeremy, you have no
not-
idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
I know him as the Superman that then was in an accident. That's
Yes.
all I know Christopher Reeve
Jeremy.
for. No, I mean it's just
I
the
mean-
truth.
We've upset Jeremy here. He was back here during the break. He was like, you don't know how many false starts we've caused.
Fuck you guys.
Oh,
That last Superman, the Quest for Peace one, that was
Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, I have to be Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Look, this was the original comic book movie blockbuster. Those Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Like that was, hey, you can take a comic book character and you can make a summer blockbuster that's gonna make a shit ton of money. And you can cast big time, big names like Gene Hackman, like Richard Pryor, right? And the guy who played Superman, who really looked a lot like Superman as we imagine him, as we see him in the comics, was Christopher Reeve. And they made, what is it, 4 of them? 4 of these movies, Roy?
Yeah.
The 4th one wasn't so good.
No.
But
Wasn't even made by Warner Brothers.
oh yeah.
No, it was made by Canon.
Oh, Canon, that's right. Oh shit. Go to Cinephobe for more Canon trivia. Canon Pictures, those guys were a bunch of scammers. But basically this star of the movie, Christopher Reeve, who is basically synonymous with Superman, in the same way that if I say Iron Man, who do you think of?
The actor,
Yeah, just
Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Yeah. I was gonna say Tony Stark, but yeah.
yeah,
We got there.
right. So it's like that. It's like there is no other Iron Man. Like they could try. There might have been Iron Man was cast in some other smaller movies or whatever before. They might do it again later, especially with all this multiverse bullshit.
But now he's what's his name?
Dr.
My boy,
Doom.
Dr. Doom.
Guess what? He's going to be Doctor Doom too, right? Like that's how strong that character is. That's what Christopher Reeve was. He was Superman. And then, as Jeremy ineloquently pointed out, he was in this awful accident. He's a big-time horseback riding. Like he was into equestrian sports, fell off his horse, severed his spine, complete paraplegic, paralyzed from the neck down, right? There's a new documentary that's coming out. It might already be out, called Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story, and it's about his life following that accident. Like, it's a little bit build up to all the things, that he did prior to, when he was acting, and then from then on. And, the guy had a family. He had a bunch of kids. One of them was Will Reeve, who's once worked with us at ESPN and now is on like Good Morning America, right?
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I was watching Good Morning America and I was like, dude, I remember doing SportsCenter hits with this guy. And this guy doing Good Morning America, and I'm stuck hosting the Le Batard Show.
Yeah.
What is my lot in life?
Tragic term.
Yes, tragedies. But it's one of those things where I saw the trailer, and I have to admit, it looked incredible. It looks moving. It's definitely something I don't know, right? I'm big on learning from my documentaries. But I also saw that it is a Warner Brothers production, which makes sense. Superman is a Warner Brothers character because DC Studios is owned by Warner Brothers, which led me to think to myself, it's a documentary. It's being released like in a couple of weeks. If I wait a little longer, it's got to be on Max. It's got to be on Max. And so this is the type of thing where I'm going to wait until it comes out on Max.
Oh, you don't want to spend the money at the theater.
It's not even spending the money at the theater, Roy, although that factors in. I like sitting down at home and like firing it up on my TV and being able to pause and have subtitles on and like, go to the bathroom and do all these things, right? The movie going experience is just inconvenient. But because of that, I realize I am also complicit in deteriorating the movie industry because it's people like me is the reason why they can't make diverse movies. They got to make a certain kind of movie because they know that's going to make money. But everything else, there is no home video they're going to make up on the back end.
So in two hands, I mean, you have propped up the movie industry by creating content around it, yet also tearing it down by not going to the movie that you're going to be talking about possibly in a couple years after that to prop up said movie industry again.
Yeah, I mean, like, I am both a champion and a villain to the movie industry. Hollywood should embrace me and also chastise me, castigate me.
Wow.
Should be purged, my dear brother Numsi. So, in that vein, what is the thing that makes you guys say, you know what? I am going to get up and go to the movie theater and pay money to watch this. Deadpool versus Wolverine, I got up and went. I
did too.
I was like, I got to watch this.
Black Panther.
That's the last time?
I was 20.
No, that would be an example of something.
Okay, got you.
Looking for something to do on a Saturday with my kid.
Really?
I think I'm going to be forced to see Moana 2 in theaters.
Oh, I'm definitely doing. That's not a force though. I'm excited about that one.
I'm excited about that too, but again, Disney Plus.
Yeah, but you got to wait. No, they on the big ones, they make you wait a little longer than like the 30 days or 90 days or whatever.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they'll make you wait on that one.
I can't do movie nights at my house anymore.
Why not?
My couch is too comfortable.
Oh,
fall asleep.
I'm snoring like I'm like the stereotypical like my wife's like, Chris. And I'm like, what? I'm not sleeping.
Yeah.
She's like, you're snoring.
I'm not sleeping.
I'm not sleeping.
You're
snoring.
I ain't sleeping.
No, I'm on the phone. Like, get off the phone, Roy.
You ever drop your phone on your face?
Yeah, literally every night.
Yeah.
Every night, huh?
Yeah, almost every night I fall asleep.
That's
in
when you
bed.
know it's time
Pictures
to
of
go
the
to
bounce
sleep.
house and the fall in your face.
That's exactly
That's
right.
like,
Well, it's
okay.
interesting. A bunch of people who don't want to go to the movies in person are talking to me about an in-stadium
They're like, look,
experience.
they
But
added
that's
new
fine.
yellow chairs.
That's fine.
Man, do you call the movie theater the bounce house too? Like this movie
Furious.
theater, am I right?
Tony, you guys
Mission
Jeremy?
Impossible. Any Mission Impossible I'll go to
Definitely.
in the theater.
I learned my lesson.
Any James Bond I'll go to in the theater.
I learned my lesson on Mission Impossible because I didn't go to Dead Reckoning.
You fool.
And then I went
twice.
I watched it on the plane and I was cursing everyone. I said nobody made a big enough deal about this. And we saw
Mike did.
No, he didn't. He did not make a big enough deal. Because then I went into the chat and I said, why didn't you tell me? this is the best Mission Impossible ever. And he's like, no, it's like the third best. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It was fire.
It was fire.
So I went once in the theater when it came out, and then it was still out when I went to Greece last year. It was around the same time, and then we saw it in a beautiful outdoor cinema in Greece. It was amazing. It was an old school, like 1940s. They had a projector, and you had like a little stand. You would go and get it. It was like $4, and you was like, oh, a bunch of Greek people, and I was like, this is amazing. And like studio chairs, like the ones that the directors sit in.
Yeah.
So you would sit there. They had a smoking section, a non-smoking section, which all became smoking section because we're
Of course,
outside. So
you're,
the
and
wind's
you're
blowing.
Greece. They don't follow the rules
Exactly.
there.
Everybody's smoking. But it was awesome. We saw it on literally like a sheet that they put up.
Yeah. Oh, like a white sheet.
Like a
that they
white
just-
sheet, like a big ass white
like
sheet.
the commercials.
Yes.
Like, you know, in the commercials where it's like an Allegra commercial or whatever, and it'll be like, hey, guys.
In a bathtub,
Yeah.
watching a white
Yeah,
sheet
white
home
sheet.
video. That's exactly what
amazing.
it was. If you're ever in Santorini, I'm going to see if I can send out whatever the cinema's name is. Amazing little place. But I saw Dead Reckoning there. Again,
Oh, my God. Wow.
better the second time.
Magical. That must have felt magical, right? Like, that's what Tom Cruise wanted.
Exactly.
You know what?
Top Gun I went to the movie for, too.
I went to the Top Gun movie for too. It was during the finals. I had the day off. I was like, I'm gonna go to the movies, and I watched it. And I gotta admit, like, Top Gun was cool, but I walked out. I was like, it was Top Gun. Like, what do you mean? Well, it was
Well,
They updated the technology, but it was pretty much Top Gun. Like, I watched the same movie.
But save movies.
It did save movies. It made people want to go to movies. But then now I'm saying, hey, Hollywood, it's on you to make movies that make me want to go to the movies. But then I also think to myself, wait, that's why we're in this condition to begin with. Because I basically told Hollywood, yo, if you're not making Mission Impossible or Deadpool, like, I'm not going to the movies. But then I'm like, where are all the art house movies and like the documentaries and stuff? Well, they're all getting made, and I'm waiting for them to stream. So I'm part of the problem. I feel guilty.
You're
I feel
fine.
real
Don't
guilty.
beat yourself up. It's okay.
Hey, Jeremy, what's Dick Mountain?
What?
I've been wanting to talk about Dick Mountain all day, and you
Yeah,
guys
censor
forced me
yourself
to
there.
talk about the bounce house. Dick Mountain is Rich Hill, the pitcher for now the Boston Red Sox. So Rich Hill is 44 years old and
Fourth
made a
stint.
start yesterday for the Boston Red Sox, and I couldn't be happier about it. But he has one of the best nicknames in sports, which is Dick Mountain. And so I actually have a top 5 suggestive nicknames in sports, potentially suggestive nicknames in sports.
That
So
also
if we wanna go to
exaggerate
that-
too, because Dick Mountain is a little bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a hill.
Rich Hill.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
Dick Mountain. So OLI, Big Poppy.
Yes, okay.
Number 5, Flash Gordon.
What's suggestive about that?
Flashing.
Yeah, connotes.
Oh,
connotes
I thought you meant like
Oh, boy.
he got done real quick.
Number
I was like, that's not
4, Hammerin' Hank Aaron. Number 3, Dick Mountain. Number 2, Randy the Big Unit Johnson.
good. Oh yeah,
Double there.
yeah.
And number 1,
Could be triple.
Mordecai Three Fingers Brown.
Oh, Lord.
Is that okay? Just to be clear, forks up for Three Fingers Brown.
What?
Wichita State.
Oh,
Arizona State.
Arizona.
State.
If you're on a
Arizona
team
State.
for the 4th time, like, is that like the same as like being in a relationship for the 4th time?
After 4 times.
It's different, right? Like, yeah, after you're like, Rich Hill, let's give this guy a go for a 4th
Billy.
time.
It's like
here.
3 divorces.
That's
Billy.
a gimmicky thing, right?
Billy.
You're just like, we could get Rich Hill, put him in relief, he'll pitch an inning, and boom, he has a record, 20 straight years, whatever.
Yes, it is, but it's like if you were the one who was broken up with and they got back with you as the player, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that have the choice, really. So it's like, hey, baby, I'm sorry, I'll be different this time. Like, I can't stay mad at you, and you get back. That's what it's like.
He struck out 2 guys in just an inning and a third,
Bet he did.
which is pretty spectacular. I mean, it's crazy. He's 44 years old and just throwing absolute slop up there. And I think it's pretty impressive that a guy like that can still play in the major leagues. I don't know.
I mean, but baseball's the sport of like old guys, right? That's the sport.
Not as much anymore. So much of it's about like max velocity and athleticism, and guys are not having the same length of careers, and it's in large part because guys like Rich Hill aren't valued the same way anymore.
Well, that's why a guy that just throws slop is valuable, because you just throw anything out there and like, oh, And they don't know what's coming.
They thought it was going to be something fast, but instead it was slop.
By the way, the Open Air Cinema in Kamari is playing Bob Marley, One Love.
Okay.
They're playing Mamma Mia
Of course, every year.
and Borderlands.
Ew.
Eh.
Every week we get our version of Siskel and Ebert. It's David Sampson from Nothing Personal with David Sampson and Adnan Burke of the MLB Network. And they regale us.
And Cinephile.
And Cinephile.
Oh, boy, Cody.
And they regale us with their takes on cinema and rank top 5 lists for various categories. We're going to do that in a second, but first we want to start on a somber note, Adnan. Yeah. The passing of Johnny Gaudreau, who passed away, him and his brother, in an accident. They were on bicycles, correct?
Correct. Hit by a drunk driver. Johnny Gaudreau, a terrific hockey player, and, I always talk on Calgary radio every week, so I have a real affinity for the Flames because of that. I keep in, tabs on what's happening. 9 years, Gaudreau was awesome with the Flames, and he had a couple of great breakout seasons. And once he was available as a free agent, everyone said, oh, my God, he could be a transformative presence. And a lot of thought was because he's from New Jersey, could sign with the Devils or the Flyers, the team that I root for. Instead, he goes to Columbus, played there for the last couple of seasons. He was back home in New Jersey for his sister's wedding, which was to take place this weekend. And he and his brother were cycling and hit by a drunk driver. And it was absolutely stunning news to hear that they both have passed away. And I got the news alert last night, and I was in shock. I'm like, what happened to Johnny Gaudreau? He's a young man, still in the prime of his life, married, children, all the rest of it. But yet another example of a drunk driver taking a life way too soon. Of course, thoughts and prayers to the Gaudreau family. Terrific hockey player and a wonderful guy.
Yes, thoughts and prayers and condolences to the Gaudreau family. We were talking, this is an abrupt transition because there's no way you can do this and then be smooth about it, but we were talking about Rich Hill going back to the Red Sox for the 4th time. And
Dick Mountain.
Yes.
Attaboy, Adnan.
Thank you, Adnan.
There he is.
David, I'm curious, was there ever a player that you guys brought back multiple times, and why?
I'd have to go back and think. You basically get them at different stages of their career. Rich Hill now can't be part of a postseason, but neither can the Red Sox, and he can give them innings, and he really wants to keep going, and it's a nice story. They certainly know him. We used to, as a GM or president, when there's someone you know what they'll be like in the clubhouse, you're apt to give them a job when you have depth needs versus someone else who you don't know. even if you think they could be incrementally better in a role or in a time of the year that it doesn't matter. So the comfort of Rich Hill is really probably what gave him a chance.
It raises a larger question in life, David, and in baseball. Yes, you want the most talented guy, but if talent is relatively equal, we'll take the guy who's a good guy. And Rich Hill, yeah, he's serviceable. He'll get a few guys out. Sure, why not?
I feel like it is a uniquely baseball thing. Like guys in the NBA and the NFL sometimes come back for a second go around, but like the baseball thing where guys keep coming back, it's almost like good enough to want, not good enough to keep. And I get what you're saying, David. It's like you have him at first and he's a star player, and then he comes back and now he's a relief, and then you come back and you just need a good vet in the clubhouse or whatever. But you rarely see that kind of transition back and forth in the other main sports.
Well, often they just stay. I mean, isn't it possible that Udonis Haslem is that?
Yes.
Where he had a chance to just stay on the bench when he really was an assistant coach.
Yes.
He wasn't worthy of a spot.
Well, I'm not going to say he wasn't worthy.
Of course he was worthy.
He's worthy. It's a culture. The culture's right there. Is it any wonder they get bounced in the first round the first year?
Today's show is going to make me lose my mind, I think.
Jeremy's having a rough
Between
show.
the bounce house and now slander of Udonis Haslem.
Let me ask
I just
them.
can't take it.
Have either of you guys been to University of Central Florida State?
Really? This is
really
who you're
used
going
to?
Yeah, I'm going to
Really?
ask
We're going to ask these guys
Yes.
about
Blake
UCF
Bortles.
football stadium. Thank you, Blake Bortles. All right.
The only thing I can tell you about UCF is that I'm not sure why, but Jesse Palmer told me when he worked with Reese Davis, when they went to UCF one time, they kept seeing fans saying with signs saying, "What do you think about that?" Like as if their school was underappreciated. To this day, if you hear Reese Davis or Jesse Palmer mention UCF, they always say, "What do you think about that?" That's my contribution to UCF culture.
Same
That's
energy
it.
still.
The only thing I know about UCF is their stadium stinks. Other than that, I don't know anything.
I'm leaving. What do you think about that?
Gentlemen, what's the top five
David
list?
knew what he was doing there. He was watching earlier.
Oh, stop it, Chris. He just walked in right now. What are you guys ranking for us today?
Well, today, you may not know this. It's Cameron Diaz's 52nd birthday.
Wow.
And I'd like to just take a moment and say, how the hell is Cameron Diaz 52 years old?
Wow.
I'm not saying that's old. I'm just saying it's older than I would have expected
No.
Cameron Diaz to be.
Right age. Perfect age.
But it depends. Happy birthday, Cameron. And I think we should do, in her honor, a top 5 all-time Cameron Diaz movies.
All right. I'm with it.
First, we're going to do this.
Happy birthday to her. I don't care. Good luck.
Thank you, Chris.
The Madden Family Cares. No,
Is that an
nobody.
OI?
No, Madden?
Oh,
Nobody?
is
I
that
thought there
from
was a
some-
movie called The
John?
Madden Family Cares.
Something about Mary.
Talking about John Madden?
No, she's married to a Madden.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Get with it, Amin.
I did not know that.
From Good Charlotte.
Maybe I'm wrong.
The guy with the face.
You got the duck, you got the turkey, it's a turducken.
No. She's married to one and Nicole Richie's married to the other, right?
Chris, I want you to clip that for Suey's next year. Best limited fake. Adnan Burke as John Madden. Or is Adnan Burke as
Frank
Frank
Caliendo,
Caliendo as John
That's
Madden? There
correct.
you go. All right. David, how about you lead us off?
Let's go number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Hallelujah.
Oh, geez. I didn't know you were
Hallelujah.
singing today.
Hallelujah. Shrek, baby.
Great selection, David.
Best Suey
great
nominee.
I've watched it inside the stadium at UCF. Number 4, Vanilla Sky. It's a movie that people don't understand, but if you love Cameron Crowe, you love Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise,
yeah.
go watch Vanilla Sky. You won't be sorry. Number 3, did anyone use hair gel the same after There's Something About Mary? It changed an industry in a way that we've not seen maybe in any other movie. Top 5 industry-changing moments for a product. There's Something About Mary and hair gel. That's number 3.
Shout out to Brett Favre.
He was in that.
Yep.
Or not.
Number 2, he gave all the money to Mississippi. Number 2, The Holiday.
Oh, come on.
Great flick. Great flick.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Every December.
Make fun of me all you want, but if you don't get emotional watching The Holiday with Jude Law, Kate Winslet, Jack Black, and Cameron Diaz,
To be
What are you doing?
How adorable are Kate Winslet and Jack Black in that movie? The chemistry that they have together is just amazing.
Now, I just want to clarify. David gets emotional for the holiday, but not
sentimental
for
claptrap.
his kids going to college.
Listen, I can't say I'm perfect. I can only tell you that fact is true. But if you want to know the number one movie for Cameron Diaz that I've watched more than a dozen times, What Happens in Vegas. Now, before you criticize that choice, Ashton Kutcher, it's about two people who meet in Vegas. They're both down on their luck. The late, great Treat Williams has not been very nice to his son. Ashton Kutcher goes to Vegas. Cameron Diaz gets broken up by a geek and goes to Vegas. They meet. They have the night of their lives, hangover style. They get married, and then Dennis Miller is their judge as they try to get divorced.
So bad.
And guess what? It may end with them together, but it is
shocking.
So good. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. We
Wait
did
to
it.
see.
We did it on Cinephobe, episode 96.
Nice.
I phobed it. That movie's terrible. But Rob Corddry and Lake Bell are great in it, so I'll give you that. That's your
Shout
number
out to
one.
Dennis. I do love Dennis Miller. Samson may have sold me with the appearance of Dennis Miller, so I may just check it out just for that scene. But I'll take.
Wait,
Leaving
you've
Las
never
Vegas.
seen the movie?
I've never seen What Happens in Vegas, and you've seen it a dozen times.
I would encourage you, not with your kids, to watch What Happens in Vegas.
Right?
It couldn't be more of just like a rom-com.
It's just straight down the middle rom-com.
I like the facts argument. We'll do the combo. I'll watch it, then I'll listen to Phobe.
There you go.
I'll see why David loves it, and I'll see what Amin says. All right, number five, Gangs of New York.
That's number 5.
Cameron Diaz and Leonardo DiCaprio comparing scars. She plays Jenny Everdeen, who's a filch. And of course, you've got the Titanic performance of Daniel Day-Lewis. I took the father, and I'll take the son. You tell young Balin I'm going to paint paradise with his blood. 2 coats.
And
Has there ever been a list you've done without Scorsese?
Now, listen, that's an underrated movie. Gangs of New York.
That's a
David.
great
wondering.
one. And then what won the Oscar that year? Because I thought that was going to win Best Picture, and it didn't.
It was thought to be a meeting. Got 10 Oscar nominations, and The Pianist. Chicago. Chicago won Best Picture.
Oh, come on,
That's even worse. A musical.
A musical.
All right, continue.
You guys continue to just break my heart.
Number 4, Any Given Sunday. Amidst Oliver Stone's bombast and testosterone, you gotta have one strong female character. That's Cameron Diaz playing the owner, challenging Pacino. Where is your heart, Tony? Where is your fight? Any Given Sunday. It's ridiculous and preposterous, but it's more entertaining than you might realize. Any Given Sunday is number 4.
The most preposterous is that Cameron Diaz would be an owner.
No, not at all, because she's the daughter of the owner. She inherits the team. That's what happened.
Yeah. Number 3, Smoking. It's The Mask. I'm shocked that David did not have The Mask.
Me too.
I mean, this was Cameron Diaz's coming out party. But hello, red dress, The Mask. No one's arguing with that. Number 2, Being John Malkovich.
Yes.
One of the strangest, craziest movies of the 90s and one of my favorites. It's sublimely original. She's in love with John Cusack, who's a puppeteer. He finds a portal where you go into Being John Malkovich, and then she realizes she's a transsexual, and she's attracted to Catherine Keener, and so is Cusack. But she wants to go in the portal and be Malkovich and get with Keener. It's crazy. It's bizarre. At one point, Cusack locks her in a cage with her own chimp. Brilliant performance by Cameron Diaz. Very much against type. Being John Malkovich.
Boy, you really sold that one. People are running out to watch Being John Malkovich now.
Malkovich. And number 1, like David said, I mean, hair gel has never been the same. We got a bleeder. There's Something About Mary. Iconic performance from Cameron Diaz. Unforgettable. Should have been nominated for an Oscar. Great film.
David, why was it absurd that Cameron Diaz would be a owner?
Yeah, David.
Because I'm happy that you can walk me into that, Roy. And I'm just saying that when Cameron Diaz walks in the room with Al Pacino and tries to exert what is normally the power play between an owner and a coach, she did not have the gravitas that is required when Amy Adams walks into a room as the owner of I was going to say the Oilers, but it's going to be the Titans. That is a room that she commands. To me, Cameron Diaz did not command a room.
I couldn't disagree more. Guys, I got my version of the list real quick here. My OLI. is it's my number 5. I got straight to number 5.
I was so confused. I thought Amy Adams, the actress, owned one of these teams now, and then I was trying to figure out what movie we're talking about, and then I realized Amy Adams is a business person and an actress.
Me too. I thought she was the owner, like that movie with Kevin Costner with the Browns. And stuff.
We all went there. I thought he was like
90% of people thought we were talking about the
like Trouble
Yeah,
with
it was
Her.
really confusing.
All right, here we go. My number 5. I can't believe you guys didn't mention this one. Bad Teacher.
I thought about it. Seth Rogen.
I like that movie.
That's
Justin Timberlake.
That's the only argument you have. That's the only argument you need, Sean. Number 4, being John Malkovich.
Nice.
Number 3, The Mask.
Yes. Good
Number
list.
2, Gangs in New York. She did an accent. And number 1, it's not Shrek. It's Shrek 2. Better movie.
Ooh, no.
Way better movie.
Not even
442 was
close.
amazing. They put Shrek 2.
Shrek 2. Once the number 1 selling DVD of all time. Thank you, guys. I'm forever fascinated by the ability of people to get out of things they don't want to do at work. Whether it's Stugotz and his lacrosse mitzvahs, or Stugotz and his dead tours, or Stugotz and the
WFAN.
Yeah, they got to go up to New York. Well, it's just the idea that I'm going to do whatever it takes to legitimize the reason why I just don't want to do this. Brandon Ayuk, you, sir, are a prince among us. Hold out. This offer is insulting. You guys need to trade me somewhere else. Trade talks with other teams. And then yesterday, the news comes out. Signs a new deal for exactly the same money that they offered at the beginning of this whole shit. And
Heady play.
It has to be that, right? It can't be like he overvalued himself and then realized, wow, whatever, and now comes back with hat in hand. This is just, I didn't want to do training camp.
But it's not like he's an older guy, though, or like a lineman. He's banging it. Like, I feel like, is training camp that crazy for wide receivers?
Yes, man. Like, you think training camp is easy?
I think of more older players that are like, man, I just want to get out of training camp. It seems like he wanted to get money, and there was maybe not the market that he thought.
No. Nobody likes doing training camp. Maybe your first one, you're excited, you're a rookie. But, like, he's been around long enough. I know it. I know what we're doing, guys. I know what we're doing. I don't want to do any of this.
Based on like the reports, it seemed like there was never really much back and forth also. Like it didn't seem like either side from what I read really had a plan. It was just like, well, here's the deal. And then it's like, well, I don't want that. And then it was just a lot of like nothing happening. And then there was like maybe attempts at trade and like, nah, we don't like that. And I'm like, okay. And then everyone's just waiting around because no one really had something else that they wanted to ask for, whatever. And then they came back and like, so you want this? I'm like, okay.
You ever had this one like someone, hey, what do you want to get to eat? And it's
I don't know. What do you want?
I don't know.
That. And then you say something like, no, not that. And you say something else, no, not that. Well, do you have a suggestion? No, not really. And so we just sit around, we're doing this thing, and then finally like, hey, you want to go back to the first thing I said? Like, all right, fine. And it's like, what did we do all this for? We could have been We could have been done this. And in Brendan Ayuk's case, I feel like he just didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do the He didn't want to do camp.
My dad, inexplicably, anytime he has he hates that. Like, get into the car. Where do you guys want to go? He for some reason calls that Who Shot John.
Instead of Who Shot JR?
He's just like, why are we playing Who Shot John?
Is he trying to do Who Shot JR?
I don't know. I actually just looked it up because I was like, I hope this isn't like an offensive reference that my dad does. But it isn't. Like, nothing on the internet popped up.
Well, Who Shot JR was a big deal in the 80s.
Maybe it was like, who do you think did it? I don't know. Who do you think did it?
But there was a television show in the 80s called Dallas. It was like a nighttime soap opera kind of drama, whatever. And one of the seasons, they ended with like the main character who's a real son of a bitch named JR. He gets shot. And it was a big question, like, who shot him? And so everyone all summer long went crazy trying to figure out who shot JR. And then it turned out it was like
I could call my dad
Maggie.
and ask him, but that might not have a good payoff.
And then The Simpsons did a parody of that with Mr. Burns.
Yes.
He's always like, can we not play Who Shot John? It's like, why are you calling it that?
I'm 98%
I think he's saying
sure
it wrong. Yeah.
He's saying it wrong. He's not making a reference or creating his own thing. He's saying that one wrong.
It's like, I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want.
I think we call him.
That's the thing. It's like, I know I don't want Outback. I know I don't want Chili's. I just don't know what I want, but I know I don't want those.
But then you end up going to Outback.
Yeah.
And you have
you know what? I like the bread.
And you have a ball. All right, that's the part that.
Hold on.
Oh, we're getting Greg on the line here.
Hey, Dad, you're on the main show.
I'm driving.
Okay. He's headed down to Key West, by the way.
Nice.
Classic Greg Cody weekend.
Putting his business out there.
Yeah, I guess maybe I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, Dad, why do you, when we're in a car looking for a restaurant and you're like, why is it called Who Shot John, that game of what do you want to eat?
Honestly, I am not sure the origin of that.
Okay.
If you Google the phrase, I don't know whether it even applies, but in the context I use it.
No, we know the context. I set that part up. Yeah.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah. So I don't know the answer. It's just one of those like catch can. Who knows where that comes from?
That kind of thing.
Greg, this is I just want to know, is it?
And you know it.
Thank you, Greg. Is it because you're messing up Who Shot JR?
No, it's a phrase.
I don't know. Who Shot JR? I think predates or came after me saying Who Shot.
Oh,
John.
wow.
I may have invented the phrase Who Shot JR. I don't know.
Okay, good work, Eddie.
Thanks, Greg. That, ladies and gentlemen, is content. So this will be a great nominee for best story next year, right? That Greg Cody asserts that he is the inventor of the term "Who Shot Blank," and the show Dallas stole that from him.
And then Biggie stole it after.
That checks out.
And The Simpsons.
And The Simpsons. Yeah, I like it. It's a great story. But let's listen to the best stories of the last year. It's the Suey nominees for best story. Oh, man.
All right, stalling.
Stalling.
Who Shot John has
Joseph-
multiple
Is it
meanings.
buffering?
It says here on
Joseph
the internet,
Stalin.
according to Google AI. Did I stall long enough for you?
And now the Suey nominees for Best Story. Amin El Hassan gets recognized by a fan.
Cars are whizzing past. I got to make sure that John Reed doesn't get hit by a car because he's filming me walking backward across the street. And I'm really worried about this, right? Chris says, hey, Amin, you can come back now. I said, I know. I've been walking this whole time, walking back to the Elster. That's how far this thing was. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is at one of these intersections where I'm waiting for these cars to go by so I can cross the street. A car comes down, and as it's coming by, I see them roll their windows down. And the person driving leans over to the passenger side, to the side where I'm at, starts waving and says, Bomani!
Oh, no.
Pablo Torre misses Messi's first goal for Inter Miami because he was eating chicken fingers.
You missed Messi's first goal for a chicken tender. Chicken tender.
On my badge, it said Field Suite. And I said to myself, I'm a veteran of this game. There's going to be stuff there. And I get there, and I don't eat it, and I go outside to see the beginning of the game. I tell Chris, when are you breaking the seal? Chris informs me he already broke his seal. He's already eaten. And at that point, I'm like...
It was an awkward thing where there weren't a lot of people eating. So
no one was eating there.
You had that awkward feeling of like, can I or can't I?
No one was eating because the match had started.
In no way is Leo Messi just going to come out here and immediately score another goddamn goal. Of course, I would have enough time to grab a chicken tender because I hosted 4 hours of goddamn radio today and haven't eaten. And instead, what I witnessed through the glass, smudged by the 100-degree humidity, is a scene unfolding, and then I burst through the door and saw Chris Cody already with his phone out, pointed at me, laughing at the fact that I had missed actual history.
Billy Gill's TSA story.
So I'm going through like TSA pre-check, right? And, you know, the stuff goes through the x-ray machine. You know how sometimes it goes off on like a different thing and they have to start like looking through it. So this bag goes off on a different side and I'm like getting my stuff, minding my own business, whatever. And then the TSA agent is going to check the bag. He's like, whose bag is this? Whose bag is this? Whatever, right? And then a woman's like, oh, it's mine. And he looks at her with a straight face and he goes, are you a child trafficker? and she goes, no. And I'm like taken aback because I'm like, hold on. Like,
yes, would have been a wild answer.
Well, no, because I'm like,
yeah, who would say yes?
No, he's like, are you a child trafficker? And I was like, oh my God. And in my head, I'm like, did a kid show up on that x-ray? Like, what? Why would you ask that question? And then he looks at her and he looks at her stomach and he goes, you sure?
Oh, no.
And then it was because she was pregnant. She goes, oh, yeah, I'm expecting blah, blah, blah. But that's how he asked the question. Are you a child trafficker?
Dude.
And then went like this. When she said no, he goes,
he was like, that's what a child trafficker would say.
That's what's worse
That's
than
exactly
a dad.
what
That's worse than a dad joke.
the wildest joke ever.
Ron McGill's Gorilla Sting.
We worked with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency to actually do a sting operation on a guy by putting a guy in a gorilla suit. We put him in a cage. We put him in a gorilla cage because this guy was trying to buy a gorilla illegally. And he came to one of us at the zoo, and we, of course, notified the authorities. No, making this up. This is true. We put an agent in a gorilla suit.
Did he arrest him? Did the guy in the suit arrested? Did he whip off the head?
We put him in his cage, like, okay, you're going to buy this gorilla illegally. We're going to get it. You got to come pick it up in the middle of the night. We put a bunch of gorilla poop in with this guy, so it stunk like a gorilla and everything. And yes, as soon as the guy came, gave the money, exchanged to the agent, the guy in the gorilla suit opened the cage, and they arrested the guy.
David Sampson clogged a stranger's toilet during a marathon.
What's the oddest place you've pooped while running a marathon?
It was right before the New York Marathon, and where you are staged is a Army base. And I actually went into someone's house who was in the Army.
It was a veteran? Oh, my God.
No, an active Army,
what are you
general.
doing?
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Lucy, you're
and
mortified.
It ended up clogging, and it flooded, and I ran. I didn't leave a note, and I think about it to this day, that poor person coming back after volunteering for the New York Marathon, and what I left that person with.
He comes home.
Who shit in my toilet?
He's right. Who shit in my toilet? What communist shit in my toilet?
Here's a little nugget, Dan. I chose the master bathroom.
Oh, my God. Because it's comfortable.
It was nicer.
What do you mean, why?
You were scoping out the bathrooms of the general's house?
This is an uncommon horror.
Roy Bellamy's hit and run on Billy Gill's car.
Didn't you clip Billy's car once?
He did hit my car.
What?
It's worse than that. I was borrowing my mother-in-law's car and he crashed into it leaving the garage.
Yeah, because somebody had turned short and I was
That's
forced to
the
go to
story.
the other side.
Yeah.
So it was their fault?
It just happened to be your car?
He also tried to leave the
His
garage
mother's car.
and it was at the bottom of the ramp and I'm like, hey, what are we doing here?
I didn't
He just
try to
crashed into me.
I didn't try to leave.
He was all the way at the bottom of the ramp. I was like, and I was parked at the top of the ramp.
Bottom of the ramp?
Yeah, I never park on the corners anymore on floors because Roy crashed into me.
Taylor Vippolis totaled his car.
I forgot to put the car in park. It rolled off a cliff.
Is that why you scooter everywhere?
Rolled off a cliff?
Yeah. It was on top of my driveway. I lived on like a cliff type setting, and I went to my trunk. You mean a hill? My gym bag.
He lived on a hill.
It was more of a cliff.
He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
Because nobody lives on a
cliff. You live on a hill.
Some people live on that cliff.
People do.
You know?
So
Just
I
not
went,
us.
I put the car in park, or so I thought, and I went to the trunk to get my gym bag. And then as I'm going, I could feel the car rolling back, and my we're already out of the car, and there was like a little wooden beam that protected this cliff or this hill, and I was like, okay, the car is just gonna hit the wooden beam, take a little dent. And as I'm thinking that, the car just goes straight through.
Hold on a second.
And rolls off.
You're saying this so
onto the
casually.
street. Yeah, the car got totaled.
It rolled off onto a street, like off the side of a cliff onto a street. Did it
Onto
hit
the street.
anything?
No, it didn't hit anything. But everybody was driving by, and they were like, why is there a car upside down on the road? Everybody's calling my parents. I'm trying to call them. My mom was like at like a nail appointment, and she got her nail appointment finished, and she saw she had like 20 missed calls. And I was like, hey, I'm okay. You have to. That's how you have.
That's
to
how you
start
start a conversation.
Yes, of
I'm
course.
okay, but the car is done.
Charlotte Wilder and Jessica Smetana's bizarre first word.
We have a fun fact about first words. Jess and I have the same first word, and it's really strange. 1, 2, 3. Backhoe.
Backhoe?
Yeah, like an
Those are first
excavator.
words.
Yes.
Yeah, that was both of our first words.
It's an odd first word.
Wow.
Backhoe?
Charlotte and I found out about our first words in one of the strangest ways possible because we are a few years apart in age, didn't
I'm
grow up
older.
in the same region of the country, never knew each other until our first job together at SB Nation, and we were typing in Slack, having a Slack conversation across the office, and someone brought up first words, and at the same time, we both typed into Slack, my first word was backhoe, and it was so spooky. We both stood up.
Yeah, we were on the opposite side of the office. We didn't know each other.
Brad Penny's Bat Boy milk story.
It was just a bet, and we said, we'll give you, it was me actually, I said, Nick, I'll give you $500 if you can drink this milk and keep it down for an hour. And I mean, it took him to the very last minute to get it down. And I mean, it was hilarious. It was like a stream. I can't even explain to you how hard he threw up.
Please try.
I mean, I can't. It was. I mean, it was a good. And it was in the
What kind of exit velocity are we talking on?
Oh,
on that?
big time. I mean, it was. I've never seen anything like it unless it was on like the Exorcist movie.
Yeah, Launch Angle.
How many?
It was unbelievable.
How many heaves? Was it 2, 3 heaves? What would
Just one long stream.
Whoa,
Dude, we thought he would die. He could have died. Just on a side note, never mentioned before is the fact that he could have died.
I know this. I know you were so concerned about that kid dying, you fired him.
Exactly right.
Greg Cody struggles to drive in Ireland. Keep in mind, I'm driving on the wrong side of the car on the wrong side of the road. So I'm not used to it's really discombobulating me. It took days to adjust to the fact that I'm doing the opposite of what we get in the States. And so I want to hug the left side so that I don't head on somebody. And my wife must have said 1,000 times, Greg, move over. You're about to hit a wall. You're about to hit a curb. Greg, move over, move over. And it's just so annoying. And I only hit one wall.
You were hurt.
I drove for 8 days. I hit one wall.
That's one wall.
That's pretty good.
How many did you pass?
100.
Exactly. There you go.
Thank you.
Not even 1%.
Now, I hit a bunch of bushes, though. They have a wall of bushes. And so, yeah, and you're driving and you hear the car go thwap, 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 thwap.
Didn't you?
It's hitting all these bushes.
Didn't you clip something in a parking garage, too?
Yeah, we had a minor mishap in a parking garage.
Minor.
Jessica's dad almost died in a plane crash.
When I was a baby, my dad was supposed to be on a flight from Chicago to Pittsburgh that crashed and everyone on board died. It was one of the last major commercial airline flight crashes in the United States. But he either changed his flight at the last second or didn't make it on the flight, ended up on a different flight, but my family didn't know that he wasn't on the plane, so we all thought that he died.
What?
Yeah. And then, lo and behold, we were in Pittsburgh, and he showed up at my grandparents' house, and that's how we found out that he didn't make it on the plane.
You guys sobbing? Like what
Before
was?
cell phones. Yeah, my mom was like, shit. My mom was like, ooh, I have 2 babies. What am I going to do? Yeah, everyone was freaking out. Everyone was calling my grandparents like, is Mark okay? And they were like, we don't think so. But they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have like a final flight manifest ready. till like hours later. So yeah, my family all just thought he was on the plane.
Diana Rossini's son makes an odd request.
My fear is what my son did the other day, which he took my phone and charged. So you know how in Apple Pay, you can charge people and give them money and ask them for money? They charged a very, very respected general manager in the NFL $50 at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's great.
Ethics violation there.
In which that GM, and this is why I will fight for this GM to the day I die, wrote back to me, hey, is everything okay? Do you need money? And I'm
What did Belichick say? I mean,
Is everything okay? He's gonna fall for a scam and Venmo you $50 because he thinks someone's abducted you at 5 o'clock in the morning.
First thought was like, whatever you need, die. Like, I didn't know it was that bad. Like, you checked on a roster move I made the other day. We went to the last thing I thanked him was, do you think you probably wound up cutting this guy? And then like 3 days later, it's a $50 charge at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's hard. And I said, so sorry, that was Mikey. And he's like, but he wrote back. He's like, is he all right? I'm like, he's fine. He's 2. He doesn't know.
Chris Mad Dog Russo took too many gummies.
have you ever taken too many gummies, doggy? And you just...
Oh, yeah, I sure have. Steve Torrey, the dope, gave me his share.
Right.
You know, he must be an elephant, but he gave me his. Last year, coming back from the Super Bowl, it hit me when I was about to eat a sandwich, and I was about to open up the cabin and fly away. Thank God I fell asleep. That was a weird one. Cut him in half, Steve, for crying out loud. In half. He gave me a full one, and I was in La La Land. I took a nap. Thank God I fell asleep. They were out of sandwiches. I ate about 9 billion Oreo cookies.
Double stuffed, right?
No, the double stuff. You got it right.
I know Steve Torrey. I worked with him at Sirius XM. I had no idea he was an edible guy. How about that?
Strong ones, too.
Strong ones are very like an
Cut him
elephant.
in half.
He's like
That
an
was my
elephant.
terrible fake doggy.
Some highlights. Jessica Smetana's mom's reaction to thinking her dad is dead. Like, crap.
I got 2 kids. Shit.
And not like, oh my God, the love of my life. It's like, shit. I got to do this shit now. Also, the disgust in Mike Fuentes' voice.
He was the star of the entire Suey nominations. It's
funny.
not even his story.
It's not, and it's yeah.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
God, what is wrong with that guy?
It's not going to win best story because it's a good
story.
It's a good story.
Car rolling down a hill.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
But that might be best dismissal. That should have been.
You live on a
Great
hill.
dismissal, that is a great dismissal.
I saw photos of said situation,
Cliff?
and it's more than there's a cliff aspect to this hill. Like, it's not just like it went rolling down and it hit something. It made a jump off the side of something onto something else. But it's maybe if I remember the photo correctly, it was maybe like an 8 to 10 foot fall. But it did roll off and then it fell onto something else.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
You know what that reminds me of? That when you're like
you live on a hill part is so dismissive.
When you're in a friend group and there's one of the guys you don't really like that much, and then he's telling a story or whatever, and then all of a sudden that pops, you don't live on a hill. You live on a cliff.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
Nobody lives on a.
But is the friend that we don't like Taylor or Fuentes?
Taylor. Fuentes doesn't like Taylor in the friend group.
Nobody lives on an effing cliff. Because in my mind, I just thought about, he starts the story like, my car rolled off a cliff, my house is on a cliff. I was thinking about like the Mission Impossible cliff that Tom Cruise motorcycles off
Jumps
of.
off, yeah.
I
Which is
just
a real stunt, by the way.
I thought of a house, and then like on the backside is this cliff. And then as he's describing it, it sounds more like a hill. And then Fuentes comes in and says,
he wants you to play the clip again.
Yeah.
I was actually grabbing Taylor because Taylor's setup of where he lives is awkward in Mike Fuentes' defense.
On top of my driveway, I lived on like a cliff type setting.
cliff
type setting. That's there's nothing wrong with that.
I thought of Mission Impossible. The other thing that I thought was, look, I don't want to taint the voting process. Billy, I think you might have best story, man. I think you might have best story.
The child
trafficker.
I forgot that story. When I heard it, I was like, this is an adventure. What happened here? I think the craziest part is the risk of that joke, like on many levels. Like there's the child trafficking risk, and then there's also like the risk of, what if this person isn't pregnant? Because thinking back, I now remember not very clearly showing, like not 100% certain. Oh my God. It must have been a situation where like they said like, oh, you can't go through the X-ray or something, right? Isn't that a thing?
Oh, maybe. But there is no X-ray. That's not the swirly thing. You can go through that if you're pregnant.
I don't know.
But like the other part of this is, what if she wasn't pregnant?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's a risk.
No. What if she wasn't pregnant and she's actually a child trafficker? And she
I think you have to say yes, right? It's like if you ask the cop, are you a cop? They have to say yes.
Yes would have been a wild answer.
Yeah.
If she's just like, yeah, actually. How'd you know?
Like, imagine her, child trafficker. She's like, okay, all I got to do is get through this security and we're home free. And the guy's, boop, ma'am.
Come over here, lady.
It's like,
see, that's one of those dangerous jokes that, like, in a different setting, you could take to another level, right? Like, if you're her and he says, are you a child trafficker? If she wanted to take the joke to another level, not at TSA, not at an airport, she just dropped her bag and run for it.
Yeah. Like me in Vegas when security came because we spilled water on the ground. No, but I'm just thinking.
What?
Oh, yeah.
You were here, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's kind of like in Superbad when he's looking at McLovin's fake ID. He's like, huh, you're an organ donor.
I just love the idea of her, child trafficker, going, okay, all I got to get through is get home free, whatever.
It's like, excuse me, ma'am?
Ma'am. And he's like, are you a child trafficker? Like, oh, shit, he got me. And, like, starts sweating bullets. And then he says, pregnant, right? And he's like, yes.
Of course.
Yes, I am. And she gets
super
through.
pregnant. Yeah.
She gets through, and then she goes on her life of child trafficking.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
You live on a hill.
The venom in that clip is amazing.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
I was laughing out loud last night going through the final edit just at Fuentes.
That's a drop, man.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
You live on a hill.
Oh, man. You know
it's so unnecessary.
No, there's an extra. Yeah, there's an extra annoyance and irritation.
Like this is the final straw for some reason.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
Taylor hasn't been back on Mystery Crate since.
I can see him through the window also defending this take of his, Mike Fuentes.
Because nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
With a big smile too, I can see him.
That means he did it. You see it. You know he's lying. Yo, so speaking of living on a hill, there's someone who's going to be able to buy a very nice house on the hill, even though there are no hills in Miami. It's Mike McDaniel. You guys see the news? Little extension there. Yeah,
the NFL news, Dano. It never stops. According to Jeff Darlington, breaking news. There we go. The NFL news never stops, Dano. According to Jeff Darlington, Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel has signed a new contract that extends him through the 2028 season. So a nice little 4-year extension for the boy.
I hope that no one reacts to this story for Darlington, and then we interview Mike McDaniel in a few weeks, and he talks about it, and then it goes viral.
Oh,
and
my
then
God,
Darlington gets mad at us again.
That would be awesome. That would be so incredible. That's not the only extension in the news. Do you guys see about Steph Curry also?
1 year.
1 year, $61
Should I get to the
million.
whiteboard?
Love it. What do they mean by that? What does it mean?
Well, it means that Jeremy's wet dream has to defer another year at least.
Was this like an extension for next season or just a year added to his
It's a year
already
added
long-
to his contract that already exists.
So a nothing burger.
Have you seen Steph Curry as a show on Peacock?
Dude, I hear it's good.
Really?
I
saw the commercial for it and I was like,
I was so skeptical, and then a couple of my buddies watched it and like, yo, it's actually like not bad.
How's he on?
Well,
Ass on, ass off.
He's ass on, but everybody else is a very funny actor. So, like, everybody else carries the show, and then he's just the one guy who can't act. But it's fine because they carry it comedically.
But he also, like, acts like an exaggerated version of Steph Curry.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he just gives a guy a car. He's like, your daughter wants a birthday? All right, let's try to keep it under 9 figures.
Yeah. He plays an exaggerated version of himself, and it's about his buddy that he went to college with or high school with?
High school with. Well, not even. I guess, like, based on the age, elementary school. A quick spoiler situation.
You watched this?
I'm like 2 episodes in,
Okay.
so I can give you like the premise of the situation. So he has a friend who was like the greatest player of all time. They were 12-year-olds. Oh my God, this guy had a future. This is the best thing ever. He was so good, so much better than all the other players. He was so much bigger than all the other players. Steph was 12, and Danny was the best player he had ever seen. And then we find out Danny's dad lied about Danny's age, and Danny was 2 years older than everyone else. And then there was scandal in Danny's life.
Like another Danny.
Yeah, and Danny's life has kind of fallen on hard times and fallen off since. And then there's a situation where he needs a little bit of help, and he decides, you know what? Let me get close to my old friend Steph Curry. But we're also there's now a false pretense of situations going on here. And Steph is being a kind-hearted, friend because he thinks that there's one situation going on when it's really another situation.
It's like Fred Claus. You ever watch that movie?
It's just like Fred Claus.
Yeah.
I've gotten a bit of an update here. It looks like a cliff to me. If everybody can check their phone, Taylor just sent us a picture of what it looks like.
Well, let's do this. Can we get it? I know we only have a little bit of time left, but Lewis, can we get this?
Why did he send it to us?
He should have sent it to the video team.
Isn't that his job?
Also, very carefully crop out the address that's visible in this picture.
Not a cliff, by the way.
There's rocks.
A cliff-like setting is what he said.
There's multiple layers of this cliff.
Dude, this is not what I had in mind.
Nice house.
Nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
Yeah, he lives on a hill. I literally thought it was like high above the roadway.
Nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
This is not a cliff.
Cliff-like setting.
Nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
It covers him there, setting.
Yeah, this is a hill.
This is a hill. It's just
If you fall off the side of a hill that doesn't have the ramp, that's a cliff, right?
Nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
Is that a bluff?
To call this a cliff is like calling any stairway a cliff. Right? It's just stairs.
Nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
It's giant stairs, but it's stairs nonetheless.
Cliff Floyd.
Cliff.
Nobody lives on a cliff. You live on a hill.
Cliff Levis.
Landis.